99X, it's the Morning X. It's Barnes and Leslie. You know, one of the good things, Leslie, about having a fancy studio, a fancy pants studio here at 780 Johnson Ferry is sometimes rock stars want to use it to do their interviews in other cities.
Yeah, it's actually a blessing. Sometimes it's not, though, like the time Courtney Love invaded our studio and never left.
So then when they ask, you know, you just stop and you pause and you go, yeah, but you have to come on our show too.
Yeah, but there's an addendum.
There's a new record out today called Here to Eternity, and it's penned by this young man. What is your name, young man?
My name is Ed Roland.
Ed Roland, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing great. It's album day. The new album is out, and I know you've got a ton of press, so thank you for popping in first.
And thank you for allowing me to use y'all's studio.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
It's like a warm-up.
This is really exciting to have Ed in studio on the release of the new Collective Soul album. That's huge.
Beyond huge for me and the boys in the band. Thank y'all so much as always. But like, it's, you know, to be around for 30 years, it's kind of fun to come back to what we call home base, which is Atlanta and the Morning X. Like, it's so special for us.
Saying it's huge is pretty accurate. 20 songs on this new record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start reading more books or something. I can only gamble so much on sports. The games end at like midnight. I gotta figure something out else to do at the end of the night.
Wait, if 20 songs made it to this album, Barnes, you know he had to have written like 75.
You don't know this because you weren't here. He already has albums ready for the next 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. How many songs did you have to just whittle it down to 20?
Honestly, I came in with 12, and the guys did it in 4 days. Like, we're old school. Johnny sets his drums up, and we horseshoe around him, and in 4 days they did it. And I was like, well, guys, why don't y'all take a long weekend? Because we had Elvis's house for a month. So 4 days into it, I'm like, well, let me see what I could do. So I brought out my vinyls. I picked 50 vinyls that I wanted brought out in a record player, and I was in Elvis, they called it Elvis's party room, checkerboard floor, and I set up my record player, and I just sat in there and listened to my heroes, danced, and wrote 12 more songs when they came back in.
Unreal.
What were some of the albums? I'm just curious.
I went back to the Cars, Queen, Elton, of course, ELO, Tom Petty. I love Dio. I can't sing like him, but I just love that vibe.
I love Dio mixed in with Elton.
Wait, you love Dio?
I love Dio.
What song do you love? Besides Rainbow in the Dark.
It's not that one. It's the second album that I had brought out. I can't remember the name of it.
I didn't know we had that in common. I love Dio.
I do too. I love Dio. You know who else I love? I love the Scorpions.
Huge.
When I was in Boston going to Berkeley, you know, everybody was listening to jazz, and I had the Scorpions. And people would just come by and go, what are you listening to? I was like,
I just looked up Dio's second album. It's called The Last in Line.
Last in Line, that's it.
You know, one of their biggest hits, Rock You Like a Hurricane, you know what it was supposed to be called?
No.
You Like a Hurricane.
Well, they got lost in translation with the German thing, I guess.
No, but think about it. Their biggest hit was just going to be a throwaway.
Oh, man.
And they changed it. I guess the label probably said.
That was just screaming. I'm just trying to think of the Stones. I had Exile. I went to double albums at that point to see, like, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Exile on Main Street.
Oh, both amazing.
The White Album, Beatles, of course. And yes. Bruce Springsteen, The River, I reconnected with that. I loved that record. So I was kind of listening to double albums to see how far they would take it, so it didn't sound so... same thing over and over, how far we could take sound and songwriting.
Love your inspirations.
And I know you have a schedule and you've got other, stations around the country waiting, but before you go, please tell the story that you told me. We played, a month ago, we played Mother's Love, the lead single. You called me and told me a story that I tried to retell on the air, but I probably missed a lot of points.
This is one of the greatest dad days of my life. Like, my youngest son, 14, I'm driving him to school in the morning, listening to Morning X, and Mother's Love came on, and for some reason he goes, "Is that you, Dad?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Daddy."
He had no idea?
He had no idea, and I think he finally, you could see there was a gleam in his eye, as far as I could tell, like, he was really proud. Like, he could tell, like, oh, Daddy just doesn't sit in the basement and play guitar and piano all day long. There's actually something, and we talked about it. I was like, yeah, Daddy gets played on the radio, and that's why you'll get Chick-fil-A at the end of school when I pick you up.
Yeah, if you notice Daddy going to the mailbox.
What a revelation.
I got to be honest with you guys, and I immediately text Barn. I was like, dude, you're not going to believe this. And Barnes had the same, like, we were talking about, your kids really didn't understand.
They were young, though. They were, like, very young when we were on the first time, and now they're in college, so they're not here. Yeah,
but it 14 years, I just assumed, and once again, you just want to be dad. I don't want to be anything other than that, but it was like an awakening moment for him, like, oh, Dad really does work or something.
Crazy.
It was an amazing moment, and I immediately text Barnes. I was like, dude, you're not going to believe this.
You didn't immediately text your wife? You text Barnes?
What did I do?
Exactly.
Good one, Leslie. I'm going to be in so much trouble now.
Well, the irony is that it was a big dad moment, and the song is Mother's Love, that it took him to...
I know. Like, just, yeah. That's.
But hold on. You have closets full of electric clothing is the only way I can, like, describe it. Like, on-stage clothing. What does he think? You go play dress-up? In the basement?
You know what? When he comes on tour, he it's like, you know, he just never cares. He just doesn't care. And I don't care. Like, I want him to just enjoy his time, and he usually brings a buddy out, and they just rummage through and get M&Ms and all kind of candy and stuff off the
How wild is
backstage
that?
and the
great.
bus.
That's a great moment. Seriously.
It truly was. Like, I'm so glad that I got to see that and share that with y'all. It was a big moment for me.
Well, the last time you were on, we took listener calls. I know we don't have time for that, but what you don't know is your wife texted me on the side and said, these calls are bullshit. She said, next time you want good ones, you put me on the phone.
Oh, we don't.
She did?
I don't want her questions.
Well,
Please don't do that
I'm
to
just
me.
saying, she's going behind your back and trying to set you up.
Oh, boy.
All right, pop back in before you leave, and let's play some other new stuff from the record. But let's play the inspiration. This was the song where Ed's son realized Dad's a rock star.
So cool.
All right, good luck with the record. Here to Eternity. It's out today. It's New Collective Soul. That is Ed Roland, and this is Mother's Love. You're listening to it on 99X.